Hey, welcome to my Warframes Where They Are Now series, a little series I've had brewing in the back of my mind since the early days of Warframe, quote unquote. I'm going to put this little intro at the beginning of every video in this series. If you've heard this once or more, feel free to skip it. This is just my opinion and is not guaranteed to be fact. Remember, with Warframe, everyone plays at least a little different from each other. That's why there's 52 frames as of making this intro, of course. That being said, I do plan on being as objective as I can with this series. But bias will always be a potential problem, and will definitely shine through in certain episodes, if not all. Now, that being said, I hope you enjoy the series. It is March 27th, 2023. Again, noting the date so as to show what era of mag we're looking at. DE does tend to update frames on occasion. So we'll be looking at Mag Prime since we all have access to it. You know, I kind of miss the era of frames that were named after what they did. Excalibur the Sword frame, Ember the Flame frame, Mag the Magnetic frame, and take a wild fucking guess what Frost does. Unlike Excalibur, I do actually have a decent amount to say on her. Frankly, most frames I do have a decent amount to say about them. But there are some, shall we say, outliers. But to get back on topic, let's talk about the Walmart brand Tendo Pain. Her passive is as useless as they come. Whenever she bullet jumps, it pulls in nearby items. What? Especially since she has the greedy pull augment, not that you'd use it since the Sentinel mod vacuum exists. Point being, why does she have feet that suck as opposed to literally any other passive? Granted, there are worse ones out there, but that one's pretty fucking bad. On to her first ability. Meg yoinks anyone in front of her and deposits them into a puddle in front of her, ripe for finishing. This ability was a fucking meme before the rework, and now it's actually an ability I've put on other frames. Range is your best friend when it comes to this one. While I do miss throwing enemies behind myself, this is so much more practical. Wish it worked on Eximus units, but It does work amazingly on Steel Path, though, so long as you have a decent follow-up, whether it be a decent shotgun or a rather powerful melee weapon. Her second ability, Magnetize. If you hold the ability, you get to borrow bullets from enemies and then return them with interest. Frankly, I never use it for this, as it's nowhere near as strong as the tap version. It has mild damage and only staggers enemies a little bit. As for the tap, however, she creates an orb of magnetic energy around a target, and anything that goes in gets stuck there, and any projectiles rip them apart. You can use pull to drag enemies in, but I seldom do that anymore, since, the first ability is as powerful as it is. However, it's hilarious how effective secondary explosive weapons like the Penta are in it. Granted, I can't think of any other secondary explosive weapons, but still. The grenade will still shred the enemy without being detonated, and it's kind of funny to watch in a sadistic sort of way. As you see on the screen here, I actually do have a pretty solid Pensa build. I'm definitely not showing my actual build right now, however, I am using it in the simulacrum. But yeah, it is rather powerful, as you can see. As for her third ability, Polarize, she sends out a wave of energy that eats enemy shields and armor, while providing shields for allies so long as they're not Anaros or Nidus. This is definitely my least used ability since I run Yanero for my Tenno, but if you like to run any other school, it's a good substitute, as it does expose enemies at a mass scale. Her fourth ability is Crush. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up conceptually. She lifts everyone in the room and then slams their bones together. It also gives overshields to her and her allies for some reason. To be honest, functionality-wise it's great, but flavor-wise I don't fucking get it. At any rate, it's not amazing damage-wise. I primarily use it for the shield and the augment that I have. The augment strips armors of the enemies that are targeted. Again, I run Yanero, but in this case it actually strips faster than Yanero, so what the hell. As for my build, you can see I'm running a bit of a mix, mostly ranged though. I am running the obligatory Arcane Energize. I'm also running Molt Reconstruct to keep my ass alive. I only have Steel Charge on for the extra space that it grants. Eventually I am going to reform her and replace it with Corrosive Projection. I recommend you guys do the same. For Archon Shards, I'm planning on giving her at least 2 Armor Shards, just because I do like having a bit of a tanky frame. Aside from that, I may go for Duration on the rest of them. Actually, no, more realistically, I'm probably going to go for Strength, come to think of it, because Duration, she doesn't really use it all that much, so yeah. Do y'all remember the meme that was almost everyone saying Mag sucks? Yeah, I don't quite get that one myself. Even before the rework, I found her to be quite solid. Nowadays, I typically use her for defense and mobile defense sometimes, mostly in a squad. Believe it or not, her Polarize does restore defense target shields, which does come in handy on tougher missions. Magnetize is a fucking beast against the Acolytes on Steel Path. She's a tad squishy armor-wise, but I mean, Archon Shards are a thing now. We now can have a Hildren with like 1200 health. As to why, ask the people that did it. I don't fucking know, man. I've heard of people running mag for Eidolons and Archon hunts, but that's not quite my style, and I don't think I could survive Archon hunts with mag without getting the shards in her. In conclusion, mag is actually quite good. Better than ever in my opinion. She still has a place, especially if you like armor and shield stripping. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and have a great day.